my soul. Unconditional, unrequited love. It hurts, they can't tell no lies. They only call it like they feel it from the inside. Take it back, but I meant it all. And I take it back, but I spent it all. And I'm calling you out. Wasted time holding my breath while you claimed each heartbeat one by one, till it was just a flat line left. Calling you out, but this was all I could take. Crack, but I won't let it break. No, I won't let it break. Do you sit a bit higher? Do you stand a bit taller now that you refuse another suitor, another devoted loser? Well, congratulations. I hope you feel the elation of a bubble about to burst. Well, I may be a sore loser, but you can't imagine how this hurt.
The Host Club. Guys, go out to our website, www.avrradio.org. Go to the Artist Spotlight tab or page, whatever you prefer to call it. Doesn't really matter to me. Just go there, please. And check them out. You will find their bio along with embedded. I just love that word, don't you? Embedded. Embedded video right there on our website. And you know what? I really have the great fortune to have Ashley online with me right now, the lead vocalist and keyboardist from or for the band The Host Club, Aaron Elrod. Aaron, live from Denver, Colorado. Thank you for being part of WAVR 97.0.
Well, it's my pleasure, man. Thanks for having me on.
You know what? And a lot of people don't understand, the radio business or the music business or whatever. But what we do, we have a really a tendency. We like to go out and find great artists, and that's something we've been very, very proactive about. And actually, I got to say, I'm going to take credit for this. Okay, you got me? Credit. I actually was out perusing Reverberation, and I heard you guys. I'm like, wow. And then, as you know, because you and I have been corresponding for a couple months, along with our producer X Factor out of New York City, and we loved you guys. And I loved you from the get go. And I thought I want to do an interview with you guys. So thank you for being here.
Oh no, thanks for having us. It's so awesome when being at this stage in music. It's awesome to have people find us, and to give us a nice opportunity. So you guys have done that, and it's been so exciting already to hear us on the radio and everything.
Well, like I was telling you off air, a whole lot of people are hearing you right now, so no pressure. But I know you're
right. Yeah, no pressure. Right.
But I know you're used to being out in front in the limelight. All right, let's cut to the chase. Your latest album, the full-length album, Coincidence, actually you released September of last year, less than 6 months now. How's everything going with that?
Well, it's going really well. We're just sort of building up momentum since the release. I think it's hard to release something in September because the holidays come up, and everybody's busy. So we've kind of been building up the steam since the new year started. So that's kind of what we're doing now, playing a bunch of shows, trying to get the music out there, make sure that, we're on the map, so to speak.
Well, I think you're on the map 92, 93%, if I round up, geographically around the world. You're doing a great job. Now, I'm going to tell you, I must tell all of our great listeners that besides yourself, you have your brother, Adam, rhythm guitar. He's a lead guitarist. You have rhythm guitarist, Alex Elrod. You have a bass guitarist, Connor Sinclair. And you're on your drums. You got Zach White. So that's the band members, right? Now, let me go with first. This is the first thing I think of because, I have brothers. I have a sister. I don't know if I could actually be with them all the time. How did you, first and foremost, and I was reading somewhere, where you guys all basically were growing up together, all playing instruments, all doing it at the same time. So I can see the cohesiveness of that, if you will. But as you guys have gotten older, how do you basically stand each other, if you will, lack of a better word, as much as you guys are together?
So much of it comes from, we grew up, I'm from a family of six kids, all within 10 years. So we were our own community growing up. It was like being in a school all the time. You know, we all got along all the time. Like Adam and Alex they're barely younger than I am. So it was never a stretch. We grew up with the same types of music. We were always sharing that with each other. And then as we got older, I think it just sort of clicked because of our worldviews are the same. You know, we have the same idea about how we would like to execute art and music and how we want it to sound. And so it was one of those perfect storms, you know, because like they're the closest people to me in my life, you know. And so it was easy. It wasn't a big, I mean, we have our arguments, sure, but it was definitely fairly easy. You know, it was harder finding the Zach and Connor to integrate with us, who were kind of cliquish. You know, we had to kind of open ourselves up more. But it's working out fantastic. I get along with them really, really well. You know,
you've been with Connor and Zach, if I am not mistaken, about 2 years now?
Actually, closer to 4.
Oh, is that really? Really? Wow. Okay.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. You know what? You're right. I'm wrong. It is more like 2 or 3.
Cause I just saw a video where you guys were doing, and I saw Connor and Zach, and you know, I had to kind of, but yeah, hey, I'm just old, man. Hey, it's no problem. but you know, your video. Let me talk about your video, Flatline. I love the energy of it. I like the fact that now which brother was that who was in the introduction? Was that Adam?
That was my brother Adam, the lead guitarist.
Okay, and I thought it was. But, you know, he said, I just need another drink. And I was like, this is my kind of group, man. So, but, all right. So, you know, you're out in the Denver, Colorado area.
Yeah.
A big city, as we all know. And reading some of the stuff that you guys have done. You know, you're well accepted in that area. Have you guys, have you ventured out, like maybe to California? Tell us a little bit about how you're doing to branch yourself out.
Well, we're kind of we have a loose plan to get out on a tour toward the end of this year, since we can kind of coordinate it and get our real jobs lined up with it. You know, we're hoping to go out west a little bit, do some California. We've done San Diego before. We were out there once. We've been around a little bit, but lately we've been trying to kind of keep our local buzz going, you know, and then after that to kind of start branching out with some bands that we know that are touring and maybe opening for them, or we have some good opportunities with some bands from LA to do that. And we figured, you know, that's probably the biggest place you want to go to give yourself a good shot is LA, even if it's just for a tour. I don't think I could live there, you know, not when I live in the beautiful Colorado. And
probably very cold. Winter's still hanging on here as well, but
it's still pretty cold, yeah.
All right. What really brought? Now, and like I said, I touched on this already, but you and Adam and Alex, the way I understand it, in 2003 is when you actually, I guess, formally started working together. What brought you to that cohesiveness, if you will, at that point? And then we'll step into Connor and Zach here in a minute.
Oh yeah. I was going to school for music in Saskatchewan, Canada, because at the time it was cheaper to go there.
I hear you.
So I went for about 2 years, and I was studying. I had never sang in public. I always liked to sing, but I had like a horrible stage fright for quite a while.
You're kidding me. First, let me stop you real quick. You're kidding me. You had never sang in public prior to that. Watching some of the stuff you're doing, your voice, and you had never done that before. You look so comfortable.
That's so much of learning to sing, in my opinion, is emulation. You listen to artists and you go, oh, I like how they did this. I like the range they have. I like how they phrase this. And I've always been a little technical, so I would go around and, try to mess with different, during the 90s, I was listening to a lot of different types of music, and then so I experimented, like we all do in the car, in the shower, whatever, But when I went to Canada, I tried out for, just kind of bucked up and gave a shot out with the choir, and they put me in, like, the higher one with fewer people, and so I kind of quickly had to learn to find my place, and I started taking voice lessons. And it was pretty intense, but it was awesome because I had done some of the groundwork on my own, and they just filled in a lot of those gaps for me. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, I do. So, all right.
So
Go ahead, please.
Oh yeah, well, after that, so I did a lot of opera and whatnot because that's what they make you sing when you're in voice.
Did you say opera?
Yeah, I had to do opera for a while because they wouldn't let me sing Bono or Five for Fighting or anything.
But you know what? I'm very jealous of that because that takes a very, very unique. That's a whole genre, literally by itself, and a very unique genre at that. So I'm really impressed by that.
Tricky. It was tricky, but my attitude has always been, because I didn't even listen to opera, so when I went out there, it was like a huge new thing for me. But the cool thing was, they threw me into this whole complex vocal. It was grueling, having to do that kind of vocal. So I thought if I start with the hardest stuff and I move back down, then I should be set. It shouldn't be as hard to sing pop over, Andre Bocelli or whatever. So when I finally came back, I started writing there too, and I did some songwriting in Canada. I took some classes even. And then I finally came back and started. I talked to my brother when I got back from college, and he was playing guitar, and because we had all started playing piano and guitar back in, we were probably 18, 17, 14-ish, respectively, and so we'd kind of jump back into it. My brother Adam was like, well, let's write some songs, you did some good stuff in college, let's see what we can't come up with. And so we kind of floundered around for our sound at that point. And that was probably 2006-ish. So, and then from there, it just kind of kept evolving. We kept trying different things, failing on a few different levels, trying to do country-ish kind of music, trying classic rock-ish, and we finally found our place in pop, I think. Now we've really found the sound we want to stick with, Well,
the thing about it is, and who am I to classify something that you classify as pop? I think of you as more... I don't even know if there's a genre. I mean, I would say more alternative because you've got the pop sound, but you got the rock sound. You got the attitude of little, in your face kind of stuff. I like that. But you're still mellow enough that you kind of, you can be, for lack of a better word, more generations, more people, different age groups, demographics will enjoy you. So what's your audiences like? I mean, when you go out there, is it primarily younger folks? When I say young, like I said, I know age is all relative, but is it like more 20s, 30s, or is it, do you have that wide spectrum of all ages?
Well, I think you really have a good gauge on that because you're right. I found that I was shocked to see that some people in there, who are, even my grandparents were like, I like your music. I'm like, really? It was weird to me. And then we have kids down to like 14, 15 who love it. And, if they can come out to the show and the age limit's high enough, they'll come to the show. And this bizarre, it's a huge spectrum of people. And so that makes it really, really interesting. It shows that people, they like the sound, and maybe there's enough universality in the lyrics to kind of keep people relating on a personal level regardless of age,
Well, I'm going to tell you what kind of caught my attention, if you will, is the fact I just liked, first and foremost, I liked your hook was your voice to me. And once I started seeing that and listening to that, I thought, wow. And that's when I started going more into watching the videos. Cause I'm kind of a visual kind of guy, and, we all know how that works. Yeah. But I started doing that, and I'm like, wow, I just like these guys. But let me ask you, because, we both hit on it, because, but the thing about it is, And I've asked this question of many artists throughout the years. Darius Lux is a classic example because he does a lot of just acoustic stuff. And he's a clubs kind of guy. And he goes into many different demographics and many different genres. And, he does what he has to do. But when you, just like you said, when you're on the stage and you guys see the 14 to your grandparents, do you change anything in your show to accommodate that?
That's a fantastic question. There's so many, especially being someone that struggled with being so shy they didn't want to perform, but now that's pretty much out of my system. I think that now when you perform, I feel like I'm going to be myself in regards to how I'm presenting the songs and remember why I wrote them. And I want to present them sincerely and really intensely because I want that passion and that excitement during the performance to be, that's why a lot of people come out to see live music. So I want to make sure I'm being true to that. And so, I won't usually change pretty much anything. I'll just kind of do my thing in regards to, like, how the energy I feel there, how I'm presenting the songs, regardless of pretty much who's there. I think it's taken a lot of, because there's that point when you're watching the crowd, and you're like, this is so bizarre. Like, what are these grandparents in the corner kind of doing? But it's cool to me because I like to be able to present my perspective and my passion, to anybody, any age group. And so that, I don't know, I love seeing that in the audience every time we have a show.
Well, and you hit on something, and I've said this throughout the years. Because people who listen to me on the radio or whatever, they see me live doing some stuff. But I get the stage fright thing. I'm a very introverted person by nature, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And so in the beginning, as you also mentioned, when I started public speaking through veterans organizations and so forth, it was very difficult for me, even to the point where sometimes I was sick to my stomach doing it.
Oh, yeah, yes.
But, I've always heard, and I'm always stuck with it, the more you do it, the easier it gets. I don't know if it gets easier. I think, in my opinion at least, yes, it is your opinion. You get more comfortable with who you are. And so I've always been
You're right, you take that perfectly.
I've been one of those when I'm on air, I call myself the proverbial nut because I'm just a guy who likes to have fun. So,
right.
If you want to tune into me or you don't like what I'm doing, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be anyone other than myself. So I like
exactly.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, exactly. I'm just agreeing. I think that's so well said.
All right. Now, your music has been described as fun, upbeat, and a great blend of pop and rock. We were just hitting on that a second ago. But some of your songs are a little bit more melancholy, if you will, or melancholy, I should say, or basically just telling a story. And you said something about you write most of the songs. Is that correct?
I do. I generally come up with the lyrics and the melody, and we really let the song evolve with the band from there. I'm kind of the megalomaniac of the group. I have to kind of reel it in sometimes,
Control freak, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and I am too, and I'll be the first one to admit. Now, with that, with that being said, though, is it difficult for you? You know what you have in your head, you know what you have in your heart, you know what you got in your, what's going on. You've got the, the beat or whatever. And I was watching one of your videos where you said, I finally got to the point where I stopped doing it by myself and I just started and I brought it to the band and you guys kind of evolved from there.
Yeah.
Well, kind of elaborate on that a little bit, if you will.
I think, kind of like you said, when you were talking about how you began to be more comfortable speaking at these engagements, you begin to, when you said that, just clicked, because you said, that you accept yourself and you go, okay, this is who I am, and it's okay to be that, and I can kind of start communicating with people from this standpoint. I don't have to worry about if everybody's on board with it. Not everybody has to like me, because that's impossible. That's a losing game. So I think in college, when I finally started writing from a place that wasn't, oh, maybe this song people will listen to and like, and I started writing what would I write, that I feel and that I want to, how would I do it? If I wasn't concerned with anyone else in what they thought, not want to integrate people into the music, but how would I communicate exactly from my standpoint in life with my experiences? And so I think that's what really brought me to begin to really enjoy it, and to feel a little less nervous with the whole thing, just to kind of accept, my side of the world that I see and try to communicate the world through music. You know what I mean? Like an emotion and life in general in music, I think.
And maybe that is why when I heard you first of all, and then I went and saw your video. Maybe that was with the connection or the hook, if you will, with me is maybe I saw that, maybe I heard that because me myself as well. I mean, I've always been an individual who's actually I'll be honest with you. I've always been said that I've been an asshole. And I don't mean and I don't mean that badly. Well, in my opinion, at least, I've just always been very straightforward. Sometimes I kind of lack the couth, if you will, and I just when somebody asks my opinion, I tell them, and they don't like what I tell them, and then I feel bad for a week, and they don't talk to me for a year. I mean, it's one of those kind of things, right?
No, I think that's not a bad thing, though. I think that this culture is we're too into the. Watch American Idol. You got these people that are wretched. Some of them are horrible.
I agree.
And some people told them they're amazing and go try out, and then they go and they make a fool of themselves because someone lied to them. You got to be, honesty is a good policy. It doesn't always, we don't like to hear it all the time. Don't get me wrong, for Pete's sake, but you got to have it if you want to move forward. I think in so many aspects of life in general.
I tell you what, I am once again. For me personally, and for the radio station WAVR 97.0 American Veterans Radio, I am so privileged. We are privileged. The fact that you've joined us, Aaron Elrod, by everybody else's. It's Aaron Elrod with the Host Club. Thank you for hanging out with us. And how can people, if they want to get a hold of you, they want to go out and buy, because I know you got a couple EPs and you got your brand new full-length album, Coincidence. How can they go out and find your music?
I think the best way, for me anyway, I just hop on my phone typically these days, or your computer, and you can hop on iTunes and just look up the Host Club, and then you'll scroll down to music, and you'll find the album. It's pretty clearly there. It says Coincidence, and that would be the best way I'd say to go about getting it. And if you get a chance, if you are in Colorado, you can come see a show and pick up a physical copy of the CD, which you get a lot better quality that way, of course. But I think iTunes is the best bet, definitely.
Well,
you
Aaron,
can sample everything, too. Make sure you like it before you buy it,
Well, you got me. Like I said, there was a hook there for me. I just want to tell you once again, thank you for allowing us here at the radio station to share your music, your gift, if you will, with the world. We have so many people literally from around the world that wouldn't probably never hear stuff like this. And that's why we kind of pride ourselves a little bit on that.
Oh, yeah.
Not puffing ourselves up. I'm just saying we have a tagline dedicated to our military, first responders, and indie artists. And throughout the years, we've had recording artists come in and say, hey, I know you're about indie, but we like what you're doing. So you can.
Yeah.
And so, all right, I'm going to leave you with this question. And then we'll go from there. I've asked this of primarily almost every individual that I've interviewed. I say, because I've talked to a lot of independent artists, a lot of indie artists nowadays would prefer not to get a recording contract because once they do, they lose control. What is the Host Club's take? What is your take on that?
I think for us, it's always tears you between making a living in a way that's retaining some sort of a life at home, and I think the freedom to do what you want. And for me, I feel like my attitude has always been this: look at the artists that are massively popular now. They got in the door with some song that's kind of not bad. It's very good, but more run of the mill, more relatable. Everybody can apply it to their lives. And then they move on to do exactly what they want a little later in their lives. So my attitude is, I'm open to a recording contract because if I can get the marketing and get the movement on the level that I'm not able to accomplish on my own, then in a few years, I already have projects I'm already excited about jumping into that a label might not be on board with, but that I want to explore post, being signed to a label, I think. Gotta get your foot in the door, I kind of feel like.
Okay. You know what? I really appreciate it because, I understand how hard it is to give your heart and your soul to something. So you want people to, if you're going to give your heart and your soul to it, at least you would like people to recognize it to some extent, correct?
Right.
So anyway, Aaron, you guys, and this is my Midwestern accent, but you guys, the host club, you guys are phenomenal. Guys who's listening, all of our great listeners, go out to iTunes. You can go out to our website, www.aevradio.org, and go to the Artist Spotlight, and just look up the host club, and please let them know that you heard them right here on WAVR. Aaron, you are more than welcome when you guys, whatever you're doing, if you get a hold of me, or any our producer or radio station manager, get a hold of us and say, hey, I want to jump on there real quick. We got something going on. We'd be more than happy to have you back.
Oh, you guys have been so gracious. I appreciate all your support. As you know, it's hard to get out there, and you guys have been just so, sometimes we're like, God, they're so nice. Good Lord, it's been awesome. You guys have been so helpful. So we just appreciate this opportunity so much.
Well, it goes back to you guys, too. Without you, we wouldn't be here. And so there it goes. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, check them out. Let them know you heard them right here on American Veterans Radio, the Hosts Club, our Artist Spotlight of the Week. Aaron, Adam, Alex Elrod. We have Connor Sinclair and Zach White rounds out the band. Check them out. Go to YouTube. Go to their site. Go to Facebook. Whatever social media site you guys are doing. And let them know and support them by going out and purchasing their music.